Hey everyone, Rick here, and folks, after the carnage that was last night's live stream, I haven't even picked any of that up yet. So 4.5 hours to unbox these figures, and another, I don't know, 5 hours to set this up. Because, yeah, I didn't go to bed till like 5 a.m. this morning, but just take it in, folks. This is over 1,100 15 millimeter painted figures from Alternative Armies. They come unpainted, but you can commission Alternative Armies, who manufactures the figures in the United Kingdom, to have their in-house painting staff paint them for you. This is my third 15 millimeter commission from them, by far the largest. Probably about 5 times larger than my last one that I had them do for me last year. So what do we have here? Well, folks, if you follow the channel, you know that I'm all about battlefields of mana. And in this commission, we have two armies. We have the Regal Guard of the Golden Solstice right here. And we'll take closer looks at everything and what is going on in that army. We also have the Lunar Knights of the Obsidian Eclipse over here. So whereas the Golden Solstice army is greens, yellows, reds, kind of more of a Renaissance colorful scheme, the Lunar Knights are, dark and brooding, lots of deep purples, blues, reds. And then in the center, we have a third faction. These are the Marauders. This is kind of a neutral third faction used in scenarios. So you're not always, army on army action. Some scenarios are going to involve Marauders coming into play. And right behind the Marauders, we have the Mercenaries. So as if this wasn't enough to choose from when you're crafting your army for a particular battle or scenario, oh, that's right. There are a variety of mercenary units that a player can hire as well. All right, let's start over here, and there will absolutely be many more videos to come with finer detail close-ups of every unit, the pros and cons of each. If you heard me in the live stream, you know that I could just go on and on. I mean, look at this. Look at this view of 1,100 miniatures. Is that not absolutely insanity? Okay. So the way I did this was each row is a different unit type. And then I kind of checkerboarded them out, which I think just made it look fantastic. Okay, so anyway, this first row is Peasant Militia. And the Peasant Militia actually contain two different poses. You have a guy with a scythe and a guy with a pitchfork. Typically, a unit is cohesive in the figure model pose that I selected for it. But the Peasant Militia, just to give them a little more of a rabble kind of a feel, there's two different sculpts in the Peasant Militia, and their banner is of a pitchfork, so that way you can identify it on the battlefield easily. And then the next row is going to be swordsmen, identified with a sword on their flag. And so we have, and it's 4 units of each. So there's 4 units of swordsmen there. Then we have axemen with just a gorgeously hand-detailed little axe icon. The freehand on the banners and the shields. Even though they're kind of simple symbols, but because, they just look so freaking awesome, though. And then the next row are flail bearers. And I really love these guys because of how colorful they are. A lot of blue in there. I love the blue and yellow combination. So those are flail bearers. And the flails on the flag look honestly pretty incredible. They did a fantastic job. Look at this view of all those figures. Is that not insane? I keep getting distracted. Okay. Then we have men at arms. And their icon is a shield symbol on the flag. And again, the shields look amazing on that flag. Then the next row are Bidowers. 4 units of Bidowers. And then we have one of my favorite colorful units is the Spearmen. 4 units of Spearmen. Right behind them is another. I mean, everything's my favorite. Let's just make that clear now to avoid me having to repeat it over and over. Halberdiers next. 4 units of Halberdiers, and then we get into Bowmen. We get into the Archers. And the bow and arrow symbol. Look at that. Look at that. See, that's the kind of detail that I really could not get on the live stream. And I know because I'm doing this freehand, so my camera work is very shaky. But we'll definitely have some static tripod close-ups in future videos. Then we go into crossbows. And behind them, we finally get into the mounted units. We have mounted militia. So their icon is also a pitchfork. Then we get into light cavalry with a sword icon on the flag. Then we get into heavy cavalry with the crossed lances on the flag. And these are also, the color scheme is one of my faves, with the white lances. Then we get into mounted archers. And again, look at the bow. Look at the freehand bow on that flag. Oh, it is gorgeous. Then we get into mounted crossbows. And then, well, let's skip that for now. And then get into the siege engines, the catapults. And then in this kind of middle space back here are the lords. And that includes warlords and wizards. So you have magic users, both mounted and dismounted, warlords, both mounted and dismounted, male and female of both to give you, all the different options. So what is going on here? Well, this color scheme I went with kind of inspired by 90s Warhammer fantasy, and I think they just did an amazing job. Okay, so then what are all these single figures doing amongst all the units? Well, those are unit commanders. So you can purchase a unit commander and add it to a unit, and that gives it a buff and some additional stats, and you'll stick any extra figures beyond the second rank. So when I was commissioning this project, I guess for some reason I commissioned enough unit commanders for if you ended up fielding this entire force on the battlefield at once, which is insane. I don't even know if that's something I would ever do. Not even close. A typical battle would be maybe 6 to 8 units per side. But I evidently commissioned enough unit commanders so that not only if you field every single unit, but you could have every single unit you field be upgraded with a unit commander, which is absolutely nuts. So there's a unit commander for every single unit, but then it gets worse because then I have mounted unit commanders for all the mounted units, but if you notice, there's 2, because each pack came with 2 figures, one holding a scepter out and one holding a blade. So every single cav unit has 2 different poses of unit commanders, and it doesn't end there because there were extras for some reason. Oh yeah, I think I remember why. Because I ended up getting extra banners, and the command groups that the banners came in also came with unit commanders. So I have excess mounted unit commanders and excess infantry unit commanders. And then, so what are these banners back here? And you can see a little infantry banner as well. They have suns on them, just the generic icon of the army. So those I could stick a banner bearer belonging to this army with a mercenary unit. And that's what I've done here. I've stuck a banner bearer for, because there's 2 mercenary units of each mercenary type. So ideally, each player could field 1 of each mercenary unit. And I had some of those flags, so I stuck them with the units to show that's how it would end up looking. So obviously there's mounted mercenary units, so they would need a mounted banner bearer with the player's flag, and then of course all the infantry ones as well, and then some surplus ones because I have other figures from Alternative Armies, and I could kind of make custom units as well. So what you see here is still not it. There's still a lot more options. All right, so now let's come over here to the Lunar Knights of the Obsidian Eclipse, and they have the whole crescent moon motif on their shields, which I absolutely love. Okay, so again, same kinds of units. There's 4 of each kind, and I love them all. They're all my favorite, so let's just get that out of the way. First row, Peasant Militia. Now, what you'll notice is not only are the Lunar Knights figures in a different scheme, they are also all different poses. So the Peasant Militia also still has a 2-pose unit. So they have little peasants with spears and peasants with bills. And again, their iconography is a pitchfork. So we have 4 units of Peasant Militia. And then we have units of swordsmen. I'll try to go slow. I know I'm trying not to just whip the phone around. But again, we'll have close up, even more detailed than this, static videos of each unit. I mean, that's the plan. Just get ready for a flood of Battlefields of Mana battle reports, unit overviews. Okay, so sorry, I forgot. These are axemen. Now we're into the flail bearers. And just look at the flail on the flag. Look how they did that with the dots for the chain. Oh, it just looks so good. So 4 units of flail bearers. Then these are men-at-arms. With the shield on the flag, which again looks just freaking amazing. Then we have Bidowers. And the Bidowers, I don't know if I called this out over there, but they have a griffin on the flag, or a dragon, I can't remember. Some winged beast. And then we have spears. Seems like there were a lot more shields in the Lunar Knights army, because so many, I mean, look at all these moons. Look at all the crescent moons on all the shields. Let's do one more of these. Oh, look at all those figures. Oh my gosh. Just blows me away. Then we get into the halberds, the halberdiers. I don't even think I finished with the row of spearmen, but there you go. Then the archers. Doesn't that just look so nice? Then the crossbowmen. And so every unit has a cost. So if you say, hey, let's play a 20-point battle, all right, then you can come up with your own forces. And then we get into the mounted militia. And so I'm like, so you might question, why in the world do you have so many figures? Well, because I do, whenever we play games, I provide, oh, I'm skipping everything. I provide all the figures and stuff. So when we do play, I want me and my opponent both to have the full option, the full gamut, just a buffet of figures. And so these are light cav, then heavy cav, and mounted archers, and mounted crossbows, and leadership and catapults. All right, so unlike the Golden Solstice, there was only one style of mounted unit commander, but still, as you can see, a unit commander for every single unit possible, with some left over. Okay, so then we'll move over here into the Marauders. And this was just a perfect number because I have unit commanders 4 for mounted, 16 for infantry, and that's exactly how many Marauder units there are. And they did these amazing skull decals on the Marauder flags. So up front we have leadership, we have the Marauder Overlord mounted and dismounted, all the unit commanders, then 4 units of Marauder thugs with their clubs, 4 units of Marauder skirmishers, which are essentially slingers, staff slingers, in fact. Then you have Marauder highwaymen with their halberds, and Marauder archers, and Marauder cavalry. All right, so then we have all of the mercenary units, including billmen, frogfolk warriors, mountain dwarves, mercenary crossbowmen, great swords, serpent sharpshooters, and border guards, as well as owl bears, giants, trolls, a mana shard cannon. I have some pack mules there just for fun. And then some individual mercenaries you can stick in units upon hiring them, including executioners and bards. All right, and you may be wondering, if you're not familiar with this, what are these figures on? You'll notice some I just have sitting on the mat, but some are propped up on these. What is this? Oh, it's a unit tray. So I had them make custom movement trays for me, them being Alternative Armies. And I went with the green color, but look at how look at how nicely it's flocked and painted. These movement trays are little works of art in and of themselves. But we have, I don't know, 130 or more movement trays for the whole thing, including cavalry movement trays that are 65 by 65 millimeter, infantry movement trays that are, God, what is it? 65 by 45, because these figures, these 15 mil figures, are based on 20 by 20. So why didn't I just do 40 by 60? Well, because when you're picking them up, when you're picking the trays up, you want a little give me space on either side and on the front and back to be able to pick them up easily. So I had them oversized just a bit so that you could pick up the tray. But I mean, they're absolutely perfect. So I think that's going to be it for this video. I just wanted to do a swooping overview of all of the different types of units. 1,100 figures we unboxed last night. It was absolutely insane. If you can't tell, I am still so tired. Oh my gosh. First world problems, right? Rick, why are you so exhausted? Well, I was unboxing 1,100 miniature wargame figures last night. So, okay. All right, folks. Stay tuned for so much more. There's a lot coming. Thank you all so much for watching. I do truly appreciate it. And until next time.